Good morning, students of class 7. Once again, welcome to my history classroom. Today, I am going to discuss a new topic, that is the Delhi Sultanate Part 1, the slave dynasty. You know that slave dynasty were called slaves or Mameluke sultans. Okay. The period of 320 years between 1206 and 1526, called the period of the Delhi Sultanate. In this period, 5 successive dynasties ruled from Delhi, and all the rulers are called sultans. The slave dynasty, also called the Mameluke or Mamluk dynasty, 1206 to 1290 CE. Then the Khilji dynasty, 1290 to 1320 CE. Next, the Tughlaq dynasty, 1320 to 1413 CE. The Sayyid dynasty, 1414 to 1451 CE. And the last, the Lodi dynasty, 1451 to 1526. By 1206, Kutubuddin and the other generals had expanded Turkish control over the Ganga Yamuna Doab, Aligarh, Kalinjar, Bihar, and Bengal. Upon the death of Muhammad, Aibak assumed the title of Sultan and became the ruler of all the Turkish territories in India, with Delhi as his capital. This was the beginning of the slave dynasty or the Mamluk dynasty in India. Kutubuddin was the first ruler of the slave dynasty. Muhammad Ghori had left him in charge of the territories he had conquered in India. After Ghori's death, Aibak began to rule as independent ruler, and he was a kind-hearted, generous man. He was called Lakh Bucks or giver of lakhs because he gave away a lot of wealth in charity. Like a good Muslim sultan, he spread Islam by building several mosques in and around Delhi. The mosque Quwatul Islam is the oldest mosque in Delhi. He started the construction of the Qutub Minar and made the Killa Rai Pithora his residence. A generous ruler, he was known as Lakh Bucks. I already told about for his donations to charity. Aibak governed out of his two capitals. They were Lahore and Delhi. The revolts in the north and Bengal compelled him to stay away from Delhi. Thus, he had little time to bring about any administrative changes in government. He died 1210 while playing Chaugan, that is polo games, at Lahore. At the time of his death, Kutubuddin Aibak's empire consisted of Delhi, Punjab, Bengal, Kalinjar, and Gujarat. Next, ruler Samsuddin Iltutmish. Aibak's son Aram Shah was the heir to the throne, actual heir to the throne of Delhi, but the powerful Turkish nobles opposed his claim to the throne. Instead, they called upon Aibak's trusted son-in-law to assume command. As Aram Shah was deemed inefficient, Iltutmish is considered to be the first real Sultan of Delhi. And he was considered the real founder of the Delhi Sultanate. Aibak, he faced opposition from all quarters like Ghazni, Multan, Sindh, Lahore, and Bengal challenged the new Sultan. Several powerful Rajput rulers like Gwalior, Ajmer, Ranthambore also stopped paying tributes and declared independence. Iltutmish wanted to avoid war with his external enemies and accepted the supremacy of Ghazni for a while. The greatest threats to Iltutmish were the hostile warlords of Central Asia. The Mongols under Genghis Khan were at war with the defeated ruler of the Khwarizm Empire, who asked Iltutmish for help, and Iltutmish diplomatically stayed out of this quarrel. And the greatest achievement of Iltutmish was to be recognized by the Caliph of Baghdad. He was given the title of Sultan-e-Azam, deputy of the leader of the faithful. By this, his claim to the throne was guaranteed. It also raised his sultans statues in the Muslim world. The Challisha was also known as a Turkani Chahelgani, which was a small group of nobles who made up an advisory committee for the sultans. And this was organized the time of Iltutmish. Iltutmish organized a group of 40 Turkish nobles called Challisha, which I told you, to oversee of the boundaries of the empire, and they were given posts in the government. Iltutmish started beautifying the city of Delhi. Many mosques were built, and out of them, the Badaun mosque was notable. He completed the construction of the Qutub Minar. He also started work on his own red sandstone tomb in Delhi. He introduced copper and silver coins. They were called Jital and Tanka, with inscriptions starting that he was the deputy of the Caliph. He patronized Muslim scholars, also saints, artists, and who contributed towards the enhancing the culture of the Sultanate. He started the system. In this system, paid officials were entrusted to collect taxes on behalf of the Sultan. This system connected the distant parts of the empire to the capital and consolidated the empire. Upon his death, the reins of the empire were handed over to his daughter Sultan Rajia. Minhajus Siraj, a famous Persian historian, wrote about Iltutmish Sher, Sultan Rajia, a great ruler, wise, just, kind, leader of the armies, protected of her pupil, while Iltutmish's son were too weak to rule. The ascendancy of a female ruler was unacceptable. During her short rule, Raja assumed the responsibility efficiently. She established peace in the empire, ruled wisely, and took independent decisions. She capably led the army and went hunting on elephants. She crushed the power of corrupt nobles and served to anger them even more. They plotted to remove her and defeated and killed her in battle. The Sultanate passed into the hands of the corrupt nobles who ruled through weak and minor princes of the royal family. Iltutmish had many sons but considered non capable enough to be successor, so he decided to make his daughter Rajia the Sultan of Delhi, and the nobles were unhappy with his choice. After the death of Iltutmish, the nobles placed Rukunuddin Firoz Shah, a son of Iltutmish, but Rajia, with the support of the people of the city, she became the ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Next, Ghiyasuddin Balban. After the death of Rajia and till the accession of Balban, many rulers came to the throne. Of these, Nasiruddin Muhammad, another son of Iltutmish, ruled from 1246 to 1266. He was a puppet in the hands of the powerful nobles. Ghiyasuddin Balban ruled for a period of 20 years on behalf of Iltutmish's youngest son before becoming the Sultan. Balban ruled with an iron hand, coupled with wisdom, and was known as a consolidator of the empire. When Balban assassinated the throne, the power of the Sultan had become very weak. The Chalisa was the all-powerful body that appointed the deposed sultans. Balban started by dissolving the Chalisa to strengthen the hands of the Sultan. He believed that the power to the ruler was a power given by God, and the Sultan was accountable only to God. He modeled his administration on the lines of the Iranian courts that laid great stress on ceremonies and customs. He introduced Persian custom of sijda and pipes, or prostrating before the king and kissing his feet to show elegance. Balban appointed officers who were loyal to him in all government positions. Punishment was severe for any officer who was disloyal. He maintained an efficient spy system that kept him informed about all that happened in court, in the government, in the country. They were highly paid and independent from the control of the governors. He was able to establish an efficient system of law which checked internal rebellion. He appointed an efficient, vigilant officer as the Minister of War, Diwani Arj, who had fully autonomy and was a charge of the army. Many of the jagirs or land that had been given to soldiers to the collected taxes had passed on the families of the soldiers upon their death. All these were taken back and the families were paid pensions. Jagirs were to be held only by soldiers in active military services. They were paid a salary and taxes had to be paid to the state. Balban was thus able to restore the economy. He suppressed the rebellions of Rajput, the rulers of Ayodh and Sindh, and the local chiefs to establish peace. And he defeated to the ruler of Bengal and placed his son as a governor of Bengal. He closed the western gate to the capital and cleared the forests beyond the city. This was done to stop the mutis who would raid and plunder the city frequently. 4 forts were constructed around Delhi and garrisons were placed to safeguard the borders. The Mongols remained a constant threat to the Sultanate. Balban constructed forts to protect the western boundaries. He placed Sher Khan, an experienced Amir, in charge of the border army. Sher Khan was successfully in keeping the Mongols away till his unfortunate death. When Balban was unable to repel the Mongols, he divided the frontier region into two parts, that is Lahore, Multan and Sindh made up one unit and Sunam and the Samana made up the other. He placed two of his sons in charge of this unit. the Mongol means continued to be problem that Balban could not tackle completely. He was great patron of literature, and Amir Khusro was his court poet. He patronized scholars and welcomed several learned men who had migrated from Central Asia to live and work in Delhi. The works of such scholars are sources of information about the reign of Balban. Here is ended today's discussion. Next day I will go to the next topic, that is Khilji dynasty. Thank you.